Hi everyone, Shane Stevenson. I hope you've been enjoying the 29 and 29. We've got Steven here behind the camera. Hello. And I think Andrew might be lurking up above us. He's trying to scare us a little bit. There he is. Okay. All right, so today I have, hopefully, a really interesting, exciting video, but it's a little convoluted. And this is a video that's going to raise more questions than actually solve. So I've engaged with Tim from the Kidd, Steve a little bit from the Cass and Young, and again, we're all having different answers of things. But they've been really helpful with this video. Originally, I was going to make it a sonar room, like the sonar shack, up behind the bridge. I was going to do that, but I said, well, I did one on the Croaker. Let me do the underwater sound room. Okay. Questions begin from there. So, underwater sound room. In World War II, most destroyers early on in the war were equipped with the QC radar. All right, a really small radar that was in a dome that was pretty small. And it was a monodirectional with about 14 degrees of sight. Right? So it would lose contacts pretty easily, especially if you're a destroyer, you're looking for submarines. Right? At 14 degrees all the way around the 360-degree circle, you're only getting a 14-degree beam, you're losing the sub as it's going around as you're manually moving it. I believe it was manually maneuvered. I don't think it was electric. All right, so they also called it the searchlight, but it had the ability to retract. All right, so it would be able to, and again, question one, did the whole dome retract? I don't think so. But the inside, the QC searchlight radar, would be able to be retracted into the underwater sound room. At some point, the vessels post-war got the QHB, maybe late war, but definitely into post-war, and especially for ships like the Sullivans that spent most of their time in the Cold War. Now, this was an omnidirectional as opposed to unidirectional. All right, so this could scan the 365 degrees total.
60.
What did I say?
360.
Oh, I said 365? Sorry. Thank you for
You better be.
Or else you could have shut the hatch on me again?
Yeah.
Okay. And I've got my notes here, all right? So, this was an improvement because all of the other systems are improving at the same time. All right, the K-guns are improving, depth charges are improving, the Hedgehog system's improving. And for ASW, if you have all of those systems improving, well, you better be improving the sonar that can locate a submarine or a threat under the water, right? So all of these are being improved upon, modified, roughly around the same time. Another question. Talking to Tim at the Kidd, their sonar dome, now instead of the small sonar, and we have a picture of that, so we're going to show you, it's not the Sullivans and it's not the Kidds, but it's from another destroyer with the QC dome. And you'll see how small that actual dome is. Now, with the QHB, what they did was the dome is now about 100 inches long, so 9-10 feet, whatever that might turn out to be. And so it now is not retractable, right? Because the transducers on the inside there's so much equipment that it would not be able to retract into the underwater sound room like the QC radar would have been, the earlier rendition of the sonar. So now again, post-war ASW comes along, all the improvements to targeting the underwater threats, you need the sonar to be able to do that as well, and to do it accurately. And then to transmit all of that information to the different weapons platforms, the ASW platforms, including the torpedoes like the Mark 32s that we have on board the Sullivans. So talking to Tim and the Kidd, each of our sonar domes are now about 100 inches long. And I look at a blueprint from 1956. You've probably seen that before in other videos. Ours is now about 20 frames aft, is where our sonar dome is listed. Speak to Tim at the Kidd. Oh no, ours is right around frame 25. Okay, so second question. Now, for USS The Sullivans, our sonar dome gets shifted about 23 frames aft. Their sonar dome is in exactly the same spot, right underneath the underwater sound room. But it's not retractable. So where that ends up in our boat, our ship, is right below the reefers, right? The cold storage, the ice machine, and so now you have other equipment there. Maybe in a second video, we would see the remnants, see if there's a skeleton of the ability to retract by going down into the reefer compartment. So what we're looking at is the original sonar dome, very small for the QC sonar, unidirectional, 14 degrees. Then they expand out to 100-degree sonar dome for the post-war sonar. Kidd stays in its spot right where we're at today. Ours gets shifted 22, 24 frames aft. So again, this is going to raise a question. I'm going to take the camera from Steve, and we are going to go down into this very tight space. We do have some water in here for ballast, all right, and we have had all of the compartments air tested, all right, for air quality, and everything is clear. So if the camera bumps and you see some little water, you see about maybe a foot of water, that is a conscious thing for ballast for us, because we're getting near the front of the ship. So that's helpful during the winter time when there's waves and we're rocking back and forth pretty tightly. All right, guys, so we are in the underwater sound room. All right, as you can see, it's pretty tight. Now, we're getting to a third question. All right, we have a voltage regulator down here. Really, this space is dominated by this tube trunk right here. So my thinking is, it does have, I cleaned this off a little bit, so hopefully you can see that. All right, cover lid for sonar sea chest frame 25 for model ANSQS 25. Do not destroy, for emergency use only. So of course the ANSQS 25 is a later sonar. And so what I'm thinking is, even though the sonar dome wasn't down here after post-war, they just kept this trunk and it's a sea chest. But it does say sonar sea chest. But to me, this is the original trunk. All right, let me step back a little bit so you get a better view. All right, so this is, to me, the original retraction point for the QC. All right, it would come right from the dome right into here, and they'd be able to retract it. All right, when our sonar dome moved, again, as I had mentioned, the sonar dome was not retractable. All right, it was filled with transducers, and it just wasn't able to be moved or manipulated as much. So that it always stayed within the dome. So now you don't need to retract it, and therefore for the Sullivans you can move it somewhere even where there's other space. You know, there's other compartments and the decks are being used by something else because you're not retracting it into the ship itself. So tell me what you think. I really enjoyed talking to Tim. I'll be conversing again with Steve a little bit more at the Cass & Young. All right, so our sonar dome moved aft. to frame about frame 47 through 58, 47 to 57. And the underwater sound room, we're at frame 24, 25, and so yeah, that's right. I think the QC came right up to here, and then they just kept it even though the dome was not here anymore. Well, let me know your thoughts. All right, I want to thank Steve for helping me on this video. Let me know your thoughts, what I've gotten wrong, give me your ideas, but it's a fascinating thing. And so Tim from the Kidd and I were saying, well, why did our sonar dome move when theirs stayed in the same spot as World War II? You know, service history is much different. We were attached with 2nd Fleet, 6th Fleet, NATO exercises, and they really, after post-war and into the 50s and 60s, became a training vessel. All right, so, you know, maybe the service. Theirs probably maybe was converted a little bit earlier than ours, and they realized that after the conversion, maybe it would be better to stabilize the vessel by moving the sonar dome back. So a later issued ship like ours with the new sonar dome, they pushed it back based on what they learned with the Kidd and other earlier converted boats or ships. All right, well, thanks so much. I'll sign off now. Hope you enjoyed. And again, thanks to Stephen and Andrew, if he's still up there. And hope you're enjoying. We'll see you again soon, everybody.